These NBA playoffs are very important. We are seeing things as fans that are questioning a lot of our preconceived notions about our beloved league. And I believe the one preconceived notion that we have that is really being questioned is the general consensus of who the best player in the NBA is. For literally 7 to 8 years, it was the general consensus that LeBron James was the best player in the league. No player in the league put up the numbers that he did, dominated the league as much as he did, impacted the game as much as he did on both ends of the court. But this year is very different. LeBron missed the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. Giannis led the Bucks to the best record in the NBA without a consistent three-point shot, and Kevin Durant, out of all people, has the best argument actually for being the best all-around player in the league, which I'll explain in just a bit. And then there's Steph Curry, the most impactful offensive player in this shooting league. My goal this video is to not necessarily tell you guys who I believe the best player in the NBA is, but to simply give you guys a rundown of every player's argument for the throne. Shout out to Game of Thrones, I'm on season 2, it's great. But anyways, like I said, all I want to do this video is just run down every player's argument, and I want to leave it up to you guys in the comment section to duel it out. But without further ado, let's get right into it and start with our first player in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a once-in-a-generation type talent, and you can clearly see it. No player in history has had his combination of height, strength, agility, and skill, and the whole NBA is having a really tough time trying to stop this man. This is a guy who was unstoppable coming at you full speed in transition, is skilled enough to outspeed big defenders, too big for small defenders. He has a little bit of a mid-range shot now. Honestly, that three-point shot is also coming along great. He can play make, he can be a pick and roll big. Defensively, he can legitimately guard all 5 positions. And no, this isn't a he can guard all 5 positions if Draymond is playing the 5. No, this is a legitimate, okay, I can put him on most 5s in the league and switch every pick and roll and feel comfortable with it. His impact on the game is not like any other. Now, yes, I know his lack of a three-point shot can get exposed as seen by Al Horford in Game 1, a defender who is agile enough to keep up with Giannis on the perimeter but big enough to handle him in the paint, or as much as you can ask for, which then forces him to take more perimeter shots than usual. But in the games after, he's shown that that can only work for so long until his defenders get in foul trouble. This year, Giannis averaged roughly 28 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists on nearly 60% shooting from the field, and led the Bucks to the best record in the NBA, the only 60-win team in the league this year. Is probably going to win MVP, is probably going to be a top 3 candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. In his own way, he is the most unstoppable force in the NBA, and will most likely, at the end of the season, be the most accomplished player in the league overall. And that is his argument for being the best player in the league. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant also, in his own way, is the most unstoppable force in the league as well. While Giannis is a bigger defensive presence than KD, KD makes up for it as being, in most people's eyes, the most skilled player in the game. This is a guy who can score in every way imaginable. From 3, from mid, driving in, posting up, pulling up, over short defenders, through big defenders. On top of that, he scores at an insanely efficient clip. He has the handles of a guard, has vastly improved his playmaking ability. He's also a solid defender now. I mean, there's not much KD can't do on the court, aside from maybe guarding a legitimate 5 for a full game. He's also proven the past 2 to 3 years that he's great both in the regular season and in the postseason. Has shown up when the lights are at their brightest. To a degree, you can say he's the best all-around player in the game through and through. While his regular season numbers aren't anything special this year from what they've been in the past, his playoff numbers are. Through 8 games, KD's averaging 34 points, 5 assists and 5 rebounds on ridiculous 53, 41, 91 splits, being the most unstoppable force in the playoffs, where it matters. LeBron James. The guy that's been considered the best player in the world for 8 or so years now, until this year. You see, this year LeBron missed the playoffs for the first time in well over a decade, which has been the biggest knock on his argument for still being the best player in the league. How can you be the best player in the world if you can't even lead your team to the playoffs? While yes, injuries were involved this season, and yes, they were a big factor as to why they did miss the playoffs, he still could have done a better job leading this team. But the crux of the argument for LeBron still being the best player in the league falls on the logic that LeBron is essentially still the same player he was the season prior, and if it weren't for injuries this season, he'd still be the same LeBron we've seen the past couple of years. The LeBron that can transform a 20-win team to a 50-win competitive team in the Western Conference, a feat that not many players can say they can do. While Curry is nowhere near as versatile as the three previous players, his offensive repertoire is so deadly that his impact on the game is on par as the people I just mentioned. This is a guy that is so deadly from deep that teams have to guard him literally as soon as he crosses half court, which creates so much space on offense. Even on his off days, his mere presence on the court and threat of going for 3 straight threes out of nowhere is so deadly that they never let up their coverage on him. But then he's also one of the best ball handlers in history. His decision making is great. He's also a solid defender now, and he's also a good playoff performer. So it's not like he's not versatile whatsoever. Being arguably the most impactful offensive weapon in the game and being the centerpiece of one of the most dominant dynasties in NBA history is Stephen Curry's argument for being the best player in the world. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, I can't say this enough because I feel like I'm doing you guys a disservice. I am so sorry for the lack of uploads the past week or so. Finals has been really kicking my ass. My last final is on Tuesday, so after that the coast is clear. We have the summer ahead of us. A lot of things to talk about. The NBA Finals, I will be home for that as well. A lot of things planned in the books for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, tell me in the comment section who you think the best player in the NBA is today. I know the rest of the playoffs will affect everyone's decisions, but I feel like for the most part, the conversations will still be the same. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace.